All right. Matthew McConaughey is here. Hopefully this works again. Do you know if it's working? Oh, wait. Let's see. Come on. I don't know. Is it working? Can you see it on the YouTube channel?
Yeah, we're live.
Look right now.
We're good.
We're live? All right, cool. Well, as people kind of filter in here, Anthony, are you excited for today's game? I feel like this is going to be a Saquon takeover type of game. What do you think?
I think it has to be. Honestly, I am super excited for this game. I think it's going to be a gritty game. It's going to be a run-heavy game from both teams. So it might not be the most exciting, high-scoring game, but I know we're going to do score predictions at the end of the live stream, but I'm predicting a low-scoring win for the Giants, and I think it's going to be a good one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you have Tiposaurus Rex? Did you bring him with us? Did you bring him from school?
I did not. I evacuated, and I did leave my dinosaur behind. Unfortunately, I forgot my little dino.
You forgot our good luck charm in a
did.
hurricane?
I forgot
Have
him.
you any
He's
respect
chilling.
for the Giants? Have you any respect for the Giants?
He's safe right now, but I did forget to bring him with me.
That's all right. Well, guys, as you guys are filtering in, what is going on, my friends? Silo Ren, what is good? Fireplace Gaming and OG. I hope you're doing great today, my friend. Angry bus driver. If you're driving in New York City, I know you're angry. It's a shitty place to drive. So definitely hope the Giants make up for all that angry bus driving situations. But let's go. G-Men, Anthony Loretti. What's good, my guy? How you doing? What's good, fam? SNYPZTV. What's good? Fireplace Gaming. The offensive line is going to be fired up in this weather today. I hope so. We need a lot better than what we saw last week, notably out of Ben Bredesen, notably out of Evan Neal, Mark Glowinski, and John Feliciano. We discussed yesterday, actually, the return of Nick Gates. He's going to be activated off the PUP list, and our kind of expectations for him. What do you guys think about Nick Gates? Do you think that he can actually make an impact coming back here? I mean, I'm optimistic, but also like kind of approaching with caution, since I don't necessarily know how healthy he is. The mental aspect of coming back from a torn, not a torn, but rather a broken leg like that is significant, right? Like we can't really expect him to be that's good coming back. But, hopefully if he's healthy and he can play, I mean, that indicates that he's capable. So I don't know. I think center's the best spot, Anthony. Do you think left guard or center is best for Nick Gates right now? I think center, compete with John Feliciano. He's not really that good. He's like a first-year center for the most part. I don't see why they can't just add more competition.
Yeah, I think competition helps everyone get better. And I think left guard or center, those are the spots where you're going to see Nick Gates compete eventually. Now, for a starting position, we went over this in yesterday's episode. I don't think you're going to see Nick Gates starting at any point this season, but I do think that he'll provide quality backup depth to both of those positions that desperately need it. So I think him coming back is super valuable for the Giants. His versatility on the offensive line has always been his most valuable trait. And the Giants having a backup offensive line joining the fold who has the versatility to move across the line is going to be super important for them as they move forward through the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what they can do. But what's going on, guys? John Hill, Nick Gates needs a lot of practices before we can trust him in the game. I absolutely agree. They have 21 days of practice before they have to make a decision on that. SNYPTZVTV. I don't care about high scoring at all. Got to be about the O-line today and the growth. So let's discuss Evan Neal for a second, guys, because I know you guys definitely saw what happened last week against Dallas. Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Evan Neal got really just pushed around. He was bodied by most accounts. And, run blocking wasn't terrible, but the pass blocking is not translating from Alabama to the NFL. We kind of expected his pass blocking to be a little bit slow to develop because he's a big guy. He's like 350 pounds. His feet to me are just really slow, Anthony. Like when you're looking at Evan Neal, watching him play, he kind of looks like he's moving in slow motion at times. Andrew Thomas kind of looked like that as a rookie as well. And he kind of dropped a little bit of weight, got a little bit more athletic, got a little bit more flexible out of his kick, out of his stance. What do you think Evan Neal has to do here to kind of correct himself? And Anthony, I kind of agree with you. I think he's a little bit too heavy right now. I think he might have to lose a little bit of weight to add a little bit more flexibility and athleticism, maybe pick up yoga or something to get a little bit more flexible. Because right now, his first step is not deep enough, and he just isn't fast enough right now to take on some of those more athletic pass rushers. So, Andrew Thomas adapted over time, but I think Evan Neal, he's young. Like you're saying, Angry Bus Driver, he's young. He's going to go through it. He'll get better. I 100% agree. I think part of getting better is figuring out how to manage his body too, because right now I think he is a little bit too heavy. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you can make the argument that he is a little too heavy, but personally, I know that he dropped the weight ahead of the NFL draft, ahead of his rookie season. So I don't necessarily know if the weight is the issue. I just think it's a lot of technique. I think he's still trying to learn how to play the pro sport. It's a much different technique in college that you can win with than the technique that you'll win with in the NFL. And I think Andrew Thomas also learned that very, very quickly in his rookie season. He had to change his technique, really rework it from the ground up. And I think you're probably going to need to see something similar from Evan Neal in order for him to find success. He does look very top heavy, I agree. And I think that his feet are super slow, but a lot of that might have to do with training and technique. Having slow feet doesn't necessarily always mean that you're just too heavy to move. It might just mean you don't know how to use your feet properly and you don't do enough ladder drills, or you just don't know how to properly do a kick step in the NFL, because that's really his main thing. His kick step is what's killing him on nearly every single play. He's not gaining enough depth on his kick step. Now, could that be because he's too heavy? Sure. Could that be because he doesn't have proper technique on his kick step? Absolutely. So it kind of goes hand in hand, absolutely, on that regard as well. So you kind of just got to wait and see how he does with his kick step. By the end of the season, who knows? Maybe he's going to be sliding through the pocket and he's going to be kick stepping, and it's going to be, oh man, and he doesn't need to lose the weight now. The weight also helps him anchor. So I'm curious to see if he does start losing some weight, will he start to get bullied? Because we haven't seen him really get bull rush too much. We've seen him lose because of a lack of quickness. Now, I don't want him to start losing because of a lack of strength and a lack of weight if he starts to lose some pounds. So I think it'll be interesting to see exactly how he improves over the course of the season. But I do think that he desperately needs to improve his kick step in order to find success in his rookie year.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys are watching the Vikings game, I had no idea they were playing at 9:30. The 9:30 games kind of annoy me. Do you like the 9:30 games? I know we have one next week against the Packers.
Yeah, we
I
have
don't
one next
necessarily.
week.
I don't like these 9:30 games. I want to wake up after having a couple beers the day before, have some time, hydrate, have breakfast, enjoy my morning. I don't want to jump right into a game so early. But I do enjoy obviously more football. Obviously, that's a good thing, but definitely annoying. I don't know. 7:30 a.m. for you. That's even worse, right? God, geez, that's awful. 7:30 a.m. Oh my God, I can't even imagine getting up that early on a Sunday to watch the Giants. I mean, 1 p.m. is like the maximum for me. I feel like that's a good time. But let's discuss today's game and kind of where we're going here with this team and how we can win this one, right? So, this is a game that's going to be heavily predicated on the running game, right? On both sides of the ball for the Giants. It's the Saquon Barkley show. The Giants don't have Kadarius Toney. They don't have Leonard Williams on the defensive side. They don't have Wan'Dale Robinson. Shepard is done for the year with the torn ACL. So, who steps up? If you're Barkley, the receivers, like why Kenny Galladay's got to step up, right? Like this is the guy that we've been waiting for. He's the wide receiver one, or at least was supposed to be. They've got to get him involved. Like at one point are you just like, okay, we're paying this guy $16 million. They need to get something out of him, right? They need to get something out of him with Shepard going down. He's got to just be on the field. Like, I don't really understand. I guess there's something going on behind the scenes that we may not know, which definitely could be playing a part here, Anthony. But if anyone's got to step up right now with all these guys out, Wan'Dale, Shep, Kadarius Toney, it's got to be Kenny Galladay. But you know who it's actually going to be? It's going to be freaking Richie James. Richie James has been one of our best players this year. Didn't see that one coming. He's like a wide receiver one right now. I think he has like 14 receptions for like 143 yards or something like that. I would definitely smash the over if you guys are into sports betting. I smash the over on the Richie James yards because ultimately, who else do you have? David Sills. I mean, he's okay. He's not that good. Richie James is your main target right now, and Kenny Galladay is barely getting any time. So, who's going to step up here in the passing games? Saquon's going to get a heavy workload today, but who do you think is going to be another one? Darius Slayton. He hasn't played at all. He's played a couple snaps here and there. But the thing is, the thing about Darius Slayton is like if you don't have a good offensive line, you don't have time to wait for him to get downfield. You know what I mean? Like you just Daniel Jones doesn't have time to wait for Slayton to get downfield with his offensive line not playing well. So, who do you think really steps up in the passing game today?
In the passing game, I think, you mentioned Richie James, and Fireplace Gaming just mentioned Richie James as well. I think he's been great for the Giants through 3 weeks. I expect that to continue. I expect him to be utilized heavily in the receiving game. But I think another name you just mentioned, Darius Slayton, keep an eye on him. I think he's going to be active, and I think there's a chance you see him play this week. And I think in the weeks coming forward, he should start seeing some playing time. Darius Slayton is a player who has chemistry with Daniel Jones. In fact, they used to be a very good duo together only 1 or 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, right? In their rookie season, Darius Slayton had 8 touchdowns as a rookie, which is a super impressive number for a 5th-round rookie playing alongside a rookie quarterback. He is a decent player. Now, we've all forgotten about him, and he's been pushed down the Giants' depth chart, and rightfully so for most instances. But now, with the lack of depth on the Giants roster and all the injuries piling up and the lack of consistent performances from Kenny Galladay, and obviously Sterling Shepard going down, Kadarius Toney out of the lineup, and like I said, Kenny Galladay just being terrible, you're going to see Darius Slayton hopefully get some playing time and try and reignite that chemistry and that spark that he had with Daniel Jones. And I think that's going to be super important for the Giants as they utilize these, backup receivers that they're forced to use, David Sills being one of them. I'm hoping to see Darius Slayton step up, play a solid game in the coming weeks, and hopefully reestablish himself as a solid contributor for the New York Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There's another guy I have, and Steven, you just nailed it. Daniel Bellinger. That's a guy, and Ski Mask Samson too. Daniel Bellinger is a guy that I really think is going to have a big day today as well. I'm thinking the Saquon, Bellinger, Richie James trio today is going to be the reliance and the security blankets for Daniel Jones. Daniel Bellinger had 4 catches for 40 yards last week. That was his best performance to start the season. He's been a pretty solid run blocker, but he's got a lot of untapped potential as a receiver, right? His route tree has been a little bit limited. He's not the best getting out of his break, but this is part of the process of learning. He's a mid-round draft pick, 4th-round rookie tight ends. What are you expecting from Daniel Bellinger out of San Diego State? Not a ton, but you're expecting, general progress, general development as the season goes on here. And, he's the guy. There is no Ricky Seals-Jones. There's no Jordan Akins. There's, was it Chris Myarick, Jake Myarick, and of course Bellinger. And he's a guy that I think's got to kind of take hold of more responsibility, take hold of more opportunity. What are your thoughts on that kind of tight end position blooming right now, and Daniel Bellinger taking on more just, I guess, success? Like, he's gonna have a bigger target share moving forward. He's got reliable hands. He didn't drop a pass last year at the collegiate game. I think it's time that we kind of unleash him and get him more involved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Daniel Bellinger. I like everything he's providing to the Giants right now. I think he's been a solid contributor as a run blocker, and I think in the receiving game, he's been a reliable underneath option for Daniel Jones. Of course, scoring a touchdown on your first NFL reception is always pretty cool, and Daniel Bellinger managed to do that. But I think that overall, the ways that they can utilize him are pretty exciting when you take a look at what he did at San Diego State. Now, at San Diego State, they like to use him a lot in screen passes. They like to get him underneath with yards after catch. He's got the ability to move. Like, he can run with the ball in his hands. So I'm excited to see the Giants start utilizing him in that fashion rather than just using him primarily as a run blocker and every now and then as an underneath option. I think that they should start to try and make Daniel Bellinger a focal point in the offense. I think he might be ready for it after 3 weeks, and I'd like to see him get some more targets and more designed, manufactured targets so that he can get the ball in space and run downfield, because at San Diego State, that was his bread and butter, getting the ball in space and running with it. For a tight end, he can move. And for a tight end who can move, he's really, really good at finding his way into the end zone, or at least he was over at San Diego State. And he also has the ability to make some jump ball catches in the end zone as well, as we saw in his collegiate career. So Daniel Bellinger, a really versatile young tight end that the Giants drafted in the later rounds of this year's draft. And I think that he's got all the potential in the world to be a quality starter for the New York Giants. I agree with you. I think he's already blossoming into a quality starter, but I do think it's on the Giants now to start utilizing him in a more versatile fashion to really make him a focal point in the offense.
Absolutely. I mean, look, he's like Fireplace Game is saying, Bellinger's probably going to be a key blocker today as well as receiving. For Saquon, he's an integral piece, but Bellinger is more than capable as a receiver too. I want to see them attack the seams, right? And if you kind of look at what I really enjoy seeing what Baltimore does, what Kansas City does. I mean, no, Mike Kafka loved Travis Kelce. Of course, everyone loves Travis Kelce, but what do they do great with Travis Kelce? I mean, it's really about the chemistry between Kelsey and Mahomes. They're very, very good together and audibling and adjusting at the line of scrimmage, but they attack the seams so efficiently with Kelsey. That offense, the Bills do it with Dawson Knox, but not as well, obviously. You look at the Ravens of Mark Andrews, I kind of get the sense that, the Giants could execute something similar to that with Bellinger. Now, we saw Evan Ingram attack the seams a lot. He just couldn't catch the freaking ball. He's actually having a decent season with the Jaguars so far, but I would like to see Bellinger kind of get upfield, chip block, get upfields up the seams. Maybe he's getting manned up and he's just not getting enough separation for Daniel Jones to target, but he's got a big frame. He's a big guy, throw it a little bit higher, give him a chance to go up and make a catch. Of course, the ball is going to be a little bit more slippery today, so maybe today's not the best week to be testing out risky throws. But, I kind of get the sense that Bellinger will have a bigger role here moving forward, especially if they're going to try and, I guess have him chip on Evan Neal's side, right? Because the Chicago Bears don't blitz more than 4 guys, right? They're a very traditional defense. They have a base 4, and they just rush those 4 guys consistently. I think they have about a 33% pressure rate, which is pretty damn good for only rushing 4 guys. They don't send creative blitz concepts. They don't have that same type of strategy the Giants do to supplement things and put pressure on the quarterback, but they get a lot of success. They get a lot of good metrics out of those top 4 guys. So offensive line's got to step up. And it allows the Bears really to stay back in coverage and really man up and play that secondary very efficiently. So, I guess what I will say is what's the best way to beat those 4 down linemen, right? Those 4 pass rushers. I would say that your offensive linemen, especially in the run game, have to get to the second level, right? They have to get to the second level. They have to efficiently run the ball because they got to open up play action. And when they can open up play action, they can drag those linebackers down into the line of scrimmage, drag that strong safety down to the line of scrimmage with Saquon Barkley's attention. And that'll open up the outlets, like you said before, for the tight ends like Bellinger. But how important is establishing the run today specifically? It's not raining yet, but they're saying 40-50% chance. Hopefully it won't rain today and they can get a little bit more production. But, how do you kind of take advantage of this Bears pass rush that really is predicated on those 4 guys rushing?
I think it's really important to establish the run today, and one of the main reasons why is because that's the Chicago Bears plan. The Chicago Bears are planning to establish the run and hold on to the football, win the time of possession. The New York Giants need to actually go ahead and steal that game plan from them. The Giants need to win the time of possession. They need to be careful with the football. One of the ways you be careful with the football, you keep handing it off to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley fumbles once in a blue moon. It's very rare to see, and he's very good at keeping the football clean. So one of the ways that you mitigate turnovers from your offense, you give the ball to Saquon Barkley. He's going to get involved in the receiving game, as you mentioned. But, of course, it's not the best conditions necessarily to be throwing the football all game long. We already know Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, they don't trust Justin Fields. They don't let him throw the football. So they're going to be running all day long. If you have Khalil Herbert in fantasy, good day to you. So good day to me because I have him and I'm excited. But going forward with the New York Giants game plan here with the 4. Yeah, Khalil Herbert, great pickup. I'm in a 16-man league. I drafted him really late in the draft. I was like, David Montgomery is definitely getting hurt once again this year. I was right. Now I have Khalil Herbert. Everyone wanted him on the waiver wires. He was just sitting on my bench when he scored 30 points. That's okay. I got the dub anyway, but I'm looking forward to seeing if I can get it again this week. But however, let's dive back into our New York Giants game plan discussion on offense. With that 4-man rush, one of the main things that you're going to see is the Giants putting extra blockers into their starting lineup, right? So you're going to see probably they're going to use a jumbo tight end. They're going to use their normal tight ends, and they're probably going to do a lot of pulling outside zone blocks to move away from those linemen. The 4-man front is, it comes with its own challenges, and usually teams are pretty successful pass rushing out of 4 down linemen, and that's something that the Giants are going to have to prepare for because their offensive line has been so poor through the first few weeks. But in turn, if they can get the running game going with Saquon Barkley, I think that this is an opportunity for the Giants to really unlock him and unleash him, and hopefully he has a huge day again for my fantasy team and for the New York Giants. But going forward, I think that if you take a look at both teams, they're both going to try to establish the run and run the ball all game long. But the Giants, they have the more talented running back, so that should hopefully yield them more fruitful returns on the rushing game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, talking about the defensive side, right? You don't have Aaron Robinson back yet. Cordell Flott is out. So you're looking at Fabian Moreau and Adoree Jackson. Now, Justin Fields sucks eggs. And that's just a simple fact right now. Their offensive line is one of the worst in football. I think they rank probably bottom 5 in pass pro this year. Their tackles, Larry Borom, I don't know. Larry Borom and Who else is there? Who else even plays tackle for them? Braxton Jones are very bad. They've given up 5 sacks together over 3 weeks. Then Tevin Jenkins, Cody Whitehair, and Sam Mustipher, all not very good. These guys, these are not very good players. So the Giants, and this is the Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari show, if they can really step up and make an impact this week. Ojulari had a couple moments. Kayvon Thibodeau had a pressure, had a batted pass last week. But I think this is it was easing in, right? Like they didn't get the first 2 weeks to really ease into this season at all. I kind of get the sense that right now Thibodeau is getting his ground under him. He's kind of getting his sea legs in the NFL. He had some good stuff. He didn't get stonewalled last week at all. He had some good rushes. The thing is, who did we play last week again? Why am I blanking all of a sudden? Why am I blanking? Oh, the Cowboys. They play the Cowboys on Monday night. And obviously, Thibodeau going into that big kind of primetime matchup, I think that was kind of difficult for him just to get used to it all of a sudden. But I will say this, he's fast, man. You watch him, their entire game plan was get the ball out of Cooper Rush's hands very quickly and don't give these Giants pass rushers a chance to get to him. And I think that they did a pretty good job of that. I wonder if the Bears will try to do something like that as well. Run the football, but also get the ball out of Justin Fields' hands very fast. And if that's the case, Dane Belton's a guy I think might get a pick today. If that is the case, he is very, very, very good in that intermediate shallow zone. And when he's playing zone coverage and he's just kind of hovering right there, he is really good there. And for Iowa last year, he had 5 interceptions, just undercutting passes, reading the quarterback's eyes and being aggressive. So I'd love to see Dane Belton get involved today. And Gary Gaston, what's good, my guy? How you doing? Appreciate you as always. Much love. What are your thoughts? Like any defenders you think are going to have a standout game today? I think Dane Belton's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he came up with an interception.
I just saw on Twitter a little clip of Xavier McKinney doing like a pregame speech in the huddle with the boys. I think he's going to have a big game. I love Xavier McKinney. I think he's, one of the best players on the New York Giants right now. I think he's been playing pretty well this season, and I think today might be a good day for him to have a breakout game. Justin Fields, prone to throwing interceptions. Xavier McKinney, prone to making interceptions, catching interceptions. So I think we can maybe see Xavier McKinney force a turnover in today's game, and I think that'll be super exciting. But you mentioned it, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he's going to have a big game today. I'm really hoping that he has a big game today. I think the Chicago Bears have some pretty crappy offensive tackles, and I think that now is the perfect time for Thibodeau to really make that debut to the NFL, get his first career sack, especially wearing these throwback jerseys. I got one on right now. This is a real throwback jersey from the 90s. It's a Rodney Hampton jersey for you old guys that know all about that. Also got the throwback hat on to match the Giants helmets today. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. And that's how I know the Giants are going to be playing good. But Kayvon Thibodeau, I think it's going to be a good performance from him, hopefully, because you can't wear these throwback jerseys that Lawrence Taylor wore, that all the great pass rushers of the New York Giants wore, Michael Strahan too. Can't wear these and not put together a decent pass rush on a Sunday afternoon. So hoping that Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari go out there, look like the new modern day version of Lawrence Taylor themselves, go get some sacks and get the Giants a big win.
Absolutely, but another position group, and Philip Santana. This is a really good point here when you say Jalen Smith, starting today, or they're saying that Micah McFadden might play some inside linebacker alongside Tate Crowder. But Tate Crowder has 8 missed tackles this year, and he has 9 tackles. Right, he almost has as many missed tackles as tackles this season. That is a very, very bad thing. So obviously he's got to step up and play better. But Jalen Smith, he's an athletic guy, was with the Giants a little bit last year, showed some athleticism, some spark. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a decent game today, got a couple of reps here and there, and made an impact in some way. Those linebackers got to step up, right? Because the thing is, when you don't have Leonard Williams on the field and the Giants don't have a good linebacker core, they really brought up those safeties to help in the running game, and the safeties are just outmatched. They're just not big enough to handle these second level blockers. And ultimately they're kind of getting beat up in that sense. So hopefully, the linebackers can step up and have a good game and shut down Khalil Herbert. Honestly, Herbert, 500 yards, touchdowns, Giants still win. I'm good with that. I'm good with the Giants still winning and Khalil Herbert having a great day because I got him on my fantasy team. But John Massia, is Nick Gates activated? So Nick Gates is not activated. They're going to activate him off the PUP list, but that only means that they have 21 days to determine if he's going to be on the active roster or he's going to go on season-ending IR. So big difference there. They want to see him practice first. They got to see what he can do against, in live action, in a controlled setting. So they have about a month, 3 weeks really, to determine if they think he can make an impact on this team moving forward. But, Anthony, the importance of the linebackers, who do you think steps up today? It's got to be Tay Crowder, maybe Jalen Smith if he gets some reps, and Micah McFadden, that rookie 6th-round pick out of Indiana. He's a good player. He's got to kind of get his sea legs here. He's kind of making baby steps. Of course, he's a late round pick, so you don't expect a lot. But which one of those guys really got to elevate their game?
I think Micah McFadden is one that I'm keen in on. Micah McFadden is a player that we both really liked after the NFL draft, once the Giants drafted him. We took a look at him, looked at his tape, looked at his performances in college. So this is a perfect player for Wink Martindale's defensive scheme. And I think that he's probably going to see more playing time. Austin Calitro and Tay Crowder, as you mentioned, have struggled immensely through 3 weeks. So I think it's time to start seeing some of these younger guys get an opportunity. Michael McFadden being the premier young guy on the defense that I want to see get that opportunity. So hopefully we get to see some more Michael McFadden today. If he can string together a good performance, ease his way into the lineup some more, I think that would be really exciting for the Giants. And any other defenders that I'm thinking of, I already mentioned Xavier McKinney. I mentioned the pass rushers, but keep an eye on Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence having a resurgent season. He has been great as a run defender, and he's really improved as a pass rusher this year too, pressuring the quarterback at a very frequent rate. And I think that today, against, again, a bad offensive line and against a quarterback who's prone to throwing interceptions, I think Dexter Lawrence can have a big game with those two things combined. Maybe pressure Justin Fields, force him to make an errant ball. Xavier McKinney picks it off, or Dane Belton, since that's the one that you're calling today, Alex. But I think Dexter Lawrence is in line for a pretty big performance. Again, he's been playing great this season. It's been really refreshing to see that, really exciting to see that. So hopefully we get another big performance out of him today against the Bears.
Absolutely. I mean, you see these jerseys, man. These jerseys are awesome. I'm a huge fan of these classic jerseys. Every time I see them, I just look at them on Twitter, and I feel like I could just see Carl Banks like lining up right now. You know what I mean? With these jerseys, it's just so cool. I love kind of the throwbacks, and it's just an awesome thing to see. But guys, let's do our score predictions before we hop off here and watch the game. Of course, I'll be live tweeting, and any videos and such will be on my Twitter profile, so you can see the highlights as they happen, so you can follow along there, of course. But Anthony, let's see. I'm going to go Giants 17-14. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be active. I think the running game is going to take a lot of time off the clock. And because of that, the score won't be as high. I don't think there's going to be a lot of big plays on the through the air, but I do think there'll be a couple of big runs by both teams. But I think the Giants edge this one out because of Graham Golden Boot Gano knocks it through with seconds left on the clock. I think Daniel Jones gets a nice pass downfield to Richie James with a couple seconds remaining, right around maybe the 35-yard line, and Graham Gano knocks it through. What are you thinking?
Honestly, I had the exact same score prediction in my head. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, gritty, run-heavy game. So 17-14, maybe 21-17, something like that. Angry Bus Drivers predicting 21-17. I could also see that being the score. I think it's going to be a total of like 3 or 4 touchdowns from both teams combined today. It's going to be a low-scoring one, honestly. I wouldn't even be shocked if this is one of those games that ends up being like 9-6. I think that both of these offenses are pretty poor. I think it's going to be very reliant on the running game for both teams, especially with the weather. And I think it's going to be reliant on the kickers. And I think that the Giants have a great kicker in Graham Gano, who, like you mentioned, Golden Boot, kick us to victory. Very well possible. I could totally see that happening. So I think it's going to be a good game, though. It's going to be a close one, in my opinion. Both 2-1 teams both have the capability of grinding out ugly late wins. So hopefully the New York Giants are the team today that actually grind out that ugly late win and get that victory on the back of Saquon Barkley rushing to a couple touchdowns today.
Absolutely, but appreciate all of the love, my friends. Dropping your score predictions below. A lot of Giants love today. Love to see that. And hopefully we can get another win. Walk out of this game 3-1 before we head to London against the Packers. Should be a really fun day, so I'm excited. Enjoy your football day. Enjoy Red Zone after the game. Good luck to your fantasy teams, my friends. And, of course, good luck to the New York Giants. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys a bit later for the post-game recap.